You might think a stroke is something that comes out of nowhere, like lightning striking on a clear day. But in truth, strokes often build silently, day by day, through small choices we barely notice. After 60, the body becomes less forgiving. The arteries that carry blood to your brain are like old pipes in a house. Any small clog, leak, or buildup can suddenly cause a disaster. What makes it frightening is that the habits raising your risk aren't always dramatic. They're quiet, ordinary, almost invisible. That's why they catch people by surprise. Imagine this. You've always thought of yourself as reasonably healthy. Maybe you don't smoke. Maybe you keep your weight in check. Maybe you even walk now and then. And yet, one morning, someone you know, maybe even someone your age, can't move one side of their body, or their speech suddenly turns slurred. Family members rush them to the hospital. Doctors say, stroke, and everyone around asks, but how? They looked fine yesterday. That's the unsettling truth. Stroke risk often hides behind everyday habits we don't question. Not eating breakfast because you're not hungry in the morning. Sitting through long afternoons in front of the TV. Sprinkling a little extra salt on dinner because it tastes better. Forgetting to drink water until you're parched. These aren't extreme behaviors. They don't feel dangerous. But together, they quietly push the brain's blood vessels toward trouble. Let's be clear. Stroke is one of the leading threats after 60. According to health statistics, your risk doubles with each decade beyond middle age. And yet, it's not just about bad luck or family history. Lifestyle plays a massive role. The habits you repeat daily can either protect your brain or sabotage it. What you do without even thinking, those little routines that feel harmless, are often the real culprits. Think of it like termites in wood. From the outside, the furniture looks fine, solid, strong. But inside, the termites have been nibbling away slowly, weakening the structure. Then one day, the leg of the chair snaps under weight. Stroke is like that sudden snap. The brain's blood flow gets cut off, and function collapses. But the termites, the habits, were there all along. Here's the good news. The same way bad habits raise the risk silently, better habits can protect you just as silently. You don't need miracle cures or expensive pills. You just need awareness, knowing which behaviors are secretly raising your stroke risk, and then taking simple steps to adjust them. In this video, we're going to uncover 7 silent habits that increase your stroke risk after 60. Some might surprise you. Some you may already suspect but haven't taken seriously. And for each one, I'll explain why it matters, how it works inside your body, and, most importantly, what you can do to reverse it. Because prevention isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. So here's your hook to stay with me until the end. One of these habits, when corrected, has been shown to cut stroke risk almost in half. Just one, and most people overlook it every single day. By the time you finish watching, you'll know exactly what it is and how to use it to your advantage. Strokes don't wait for permission. They don't care if it's a good day or if you have plans. But you can make choices today that lower the odds dramatically. You can stack the deck in your favor. And it starts with awareness, seeing the termites before they destroy the chair. Let's dive into the first silent habit, the one many seniors brush off as no big deal, but it's actually setting up the brain for disaster. For many seniors, breakfast is the first thing to go. Maybe you've said it yourself, I'm not hungry in the morning, or I'll just have coffee and eat later. After all, skipping a meal seems harmless. You save a little time, maybe even a few calories. But here's the catch. When you skip breakfast regularly after 60, you're putting your brain and blood vessels under stress in ways you can't see until it's too late. Think of your body like a car engine. After a full night's sleep, the fuel tank is near empty. Breakfast is that first refill that keeps everything running smoothly. Without it, the engine sputters, pulling energy from wherever it can. In the body, that means blood sugar drops. And when blood sugar drops, the body fights back by releasing stress hormones to keep you going. Those hormones raise blood pressure and strain blood vessels, the very things that increase stroke risk over time. What's more, studies have shown that people who skip breakfast have higher cholesterol levels and stiffer arteries compared to those who eat in the morning. It's like asking old plumbing to handle sudden surges of pressure day after day. Eventually, something bursts. That something could be a vessel in the brain. Now let's talk about the brain itself. The brain is an energy hog. It uses about 20% of the body's energy, even though it's only a small part of your total weight. After 60, the brain needs steady fuel to stay sharp and healthy. When you deny it breakfast, it doesn't just get hungry. It starts running on fumes. That foggy feeling mid-morning, that irritability, that lightheadedness, all signals that your brain is begging for nourishment. Ignore those signals long enough, and the wear and tear builds into something far more dangerous. Some seniors argue, but I've skipped breakfast my whole life and I'm fine. Maybe that was true in your 30s or 40s, but the body changes with age. Blood vessels lose elasticity, blood sugar control weakens, and repair systems slow down. What didn't hurt you then can tip the balance now. It's like an old roof. It may have withstood decades of rain, but a few more storms and suddenly there's a leak. The solution isn't complicated. Breakfast doesn't need to be a feast. In fact, heavy fried foods can do more harm than good. What your brain and blood vessels need is a light but balanced meal, something with protein, fiber, and healthy fats. Examples? A bowl of oatmeal with a handful of walnuts and berries, whole grain toast with avocado, a boiled egg with sliced fruit, Greek yogurt with chia seeds. Simple, fast, but powerful. These foods steady your blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and keep arteries flexible. Let's make it practical. Imagine 2 mornings. In the first, you wake up, drink only coffee, maybe nibble a cookie, then sit in your chair. By 11 a.m., you feel sluggish. Blood pressure rises. Cravings push you towards salty snacks. By lunchtime, you're starving, so you overeat. The cycle repeats. In the second, you wake up and eat half a cup of oatmeal topped with blueberries and a sprinkle of flax seeds. Within an hour, you feel steady. No jitters, no fog. Your blood vessels relax. Your brain focuses. And because you've fueled up properly, you're less likely to overeat later. See the difference? One path silently raises stroke risk. The other lowers it. The point isn't perfection. You don't have to make breakfast complicated or Instagram-worthy. You just need to give your body and brain what they've been waiting for after 8 hours of fasting. Think of it as an investment. 10 minutes in the morning buys you years of clearer, stronger health. Skipping breakfast may seem small, but small choices add up. If you've been guilty of this habit, don't feel guilty. Just start tomorrow differently. Remember, stroke risk isn't about what you did in the past. It's about what you choose to do now. And this one change can be a turning point. Now let's move to the second silent habit, one that creeps in so easily in retirement, sitting for hours without moving. Retirement often feels like freedom. No alarm clock, no long commutes, no rushing from one task to another. For many seniors, it means more time to relax, read, or enjoy television. And while rest is important, too much sitting can quietly turn into one of the most dangerous habits for your brain and heart. The very chair that brings comfort can also become your hidden enemy. Think about it. The human body wasn't designed to sit for hours. Our ancestors walked, bent, lifted, and carried throughout the day. Blood flowed freely, muscles stayed active, and the heart kept pumping strong. But in today's world, it's easy to spend entire afternoons in a chair, watching TV, scrolling on a phone, or simply resting a little longer. What feels like harmless relaxation is, in reality, setting the stage for clogged arteries, higher blood pressure, and ultimately, a greater risk of stroke. Here's why. When you sit for long periods, blood flow slows down. Imagine a river that used to run quickly, now turning into a stagnant pond. Slower flow means the blood has more chance to form clots. And where do those clots go? Sometimes they lodge in the brain, blocking blood supply, the very definition of an ischemic stroke. Add in the fact that sitting too much weakens the heart and stiffens blood vessels, and you've created a perfect storm for trouble. You might be thinking, but I do get up. I walk to the kitchen, I go to the bathroom, I get the mail. Yes, those small movements help, but if they're separated by hours of sitting, it's not enough. Research shows that sitting more than 6 to 8 hours a day increases stroke risk dramatically, even if you exercise later. That means a single 30-minute walk in the morning can't undo an entire day of sitting in a chair. It's not about blaming yourself. Sitting feels natural, especially when joints ache or energy is low. But every hour spent still is like placing more weight on fragile pipes. Over time, pressure builds. And unlike muscle soreness, you don't feel the damage immediately. It's silent, creeping, invisible. Until one day, blood flow to the brain stops and the damage is done. But here's the good news. You don't need to become a marathon runner to fix it. Simple, gentle movement makes all the difference. Stand up every 30 minutes and stretch. Walk around the living room. March in place during TV commercials. Do a few shoulder rolls or swing your arms to get blood moving. These micro movements act like pumps, keeping circulation active and reducing clot risk. Let me paint a picture. Imagine two seniors, both age 70. The first sits most of the day. They watch TV after breakfast, nap after lunch, read in the same chair until dinner, and go back to the couch at night. Their legs feel heavy. Their blood pressure creeps higher. They don't notice until one day a clot forms and blocks blood to the brain. The second breaks up sitting with small movements. After half an hour of TV, they stand, stretch, or walk to the kitchen for water. When reading, they pause every chapter to stroll around the house. They may not do formal exercise, but their circulation keeps flowing. Their risk of stroke drops simply because they didn't let the river of blood turn stagnant. Which story would you rather live? The chair itself isn't evil. It's how long you stay in it without interruption that matters. After 60, your circulation system is like an older plumbing system. It needs movement to keep things flowing. Even short, light activity can be the difference between clogged vessels and a healthy brain. So here's the challenge. Don't let hours slip by unnoticed. Set a timer, use TV breaks as reminders, or keep a glass of water across the room so you're forced to get up. Think of every step as a small investment against stroke. The more you move, the less you give clots the chance to form. Next, we'll move to the third silent habit, one that sneaks into almost every kitchen. Adding too much salt. Salt makes food taste good. That pinch of salt on eggs, that sprinkle over soup, the soy sauce with rice, or the salted peanuts in the evening, they all make meals more satisfying. But here's the truth. What delights the tongue can quietly damage the blood vessels. And after 60, eating too much salt is like slowly tightening a noose around your brain's lifeline. Why is salt such a big deal? It comes down to blood pressure. Salt pulls water into the bloodstream. The more salt in your diet, the more water your body holds, and the harder your heart has to push to move that blood through your arteries. Think of trying to water your garden with a hose that's half clogged. You crank the pressure higher, but the hose wears down faster. In your body, that pressure stretches and weakens blood vessels. Over time, one weak spot can burst, causing a hemorrhagic stroke. Or a clot can form and block blood flow to the brain, leading to an ischemic stroke. Both are life-altering, often life-ending. The scary part? Salt sneaks in everywhere. It's not just the salt shaker on your table. Bread, canned soups, sauces, processed meats, chips, pickles, even healthy frozen meals, all carry hidden sodium. A senior could think they're eating lightly, but one sandwich with deli meat can pack half a day's worth of salt. The recommended daily limit is about 1 teaspoon, yet most people consume nearly double without realizing it. Some people believe, I don't use the salt shaker, so I must be fine. But statistics show that 70 to 80% of the salt we eat comes from packaged or restaurant food, not what we add at the table. That means even if you never touch the shaker, you could still be swimming in sodium. And here's another twist. As we age, taste buds dull. What used to taste salty now tastes bland. So many seniors add more salt just to feel flavor. Unfortunately, the brain doesn't benefit from that extra pinch. The blood vessels pay the price, but lowering salt doesn't mean resigning yourself to tasteless meals. There are simple tricks. Use herbs and spices, garlic, basil, rosemary, turmeric, to flavor food without salt. Squeeze lemon or lime juice on vegetables and fish. The tang boosts flavor naturally. Choose low sodium or no salt added labels when buying packaged foods. Rinse canned beans or vegetables under water to wash away extra salt. Swap salty snacks like chips for unsalted nuts or fruit. Think about this scenario. Two friends, both 6'5", eat dinner together. One always salts their food before tasting it, enjoying pickled vegetables and salted meats daily. The other switches to herbs, buys low-sodium options, and tastes before adding salt. 10 years later, the first struggles with hypertension and suffers a mini-stroke. The second keeps blood pressure steady, arteries flexible, and brain function sharp. Same age, same background, but different choices at the dinner table. Salt is so common, it feels harmless. But that's exactly why it's dangerous. It's the silent flavor, enhancing taste while quietly raising blood pressure higher and higher. And because you don't feel high blood pressure, you don't notice the damage until the stroke happens. If you've ever thought, just a little won't hurt, remember this. Every grain adds up. Over months and years, those grains can tip the scale toward risk. But every reduction, even small, helps. Your brain and heart thank you every time you choose less. The next silent habit we'll uncover might surprise you because it feels unrelated to food or movement. Yet it's just as dangerous, not drinking enough water. One of the sneakiest dangers for seniors isn't what they eat, but what they don't drink. Water may seem boring compared to coffee, tea, or juice. It doesn't have flavor. It doesn't feel special. Yet not drinking enough water is one of the most underestimated stroke risks after 60. Here's why. Water is the body's natural transport system. It keeps blood thin and flowing smoothly. When you don't drink enough, the blood becomes thicker, like syrup instead of juice. Thick blood moves slowly, clots more easily, and puts extra strain on the heart. And clots, as you know, can travel to the brain, causing a stroke. The problem is, seniors often don't feel thirst the way younger people do. Aging dulls the thirst signal, so by the time you notice dryness in your mouth, dehydration is already setting in. Add to that the common habit of avoiding water to reduce bathroom trips, and you've got a recipe for chronic dehydration without even realizing it. Think of your brain as a sponge. A well-hydrated sponge is soft, flexible, ready to absorb. A dry sponge cracks, breaks, and loses its function. The brain works in a similar way. When dehydration becomes frequent, brain cells struggle, concentration dips, and stroke risk climbs. Even mild dehydration raises blood pressure and makes vessels more fragile. Now imagine this. Two seniors spend a summer afternoon gardening. One keeps a water bottle nearby, sipping every 20 minutes. The other forgets, thinking, "I'm fine, I don't feel thirsty." By evening, the second feels dizzy, weak, maybe even confused. Their blood is thicker, their pressure higher, their brain under stress. That one day of neglect may not cause a stroke, but repeat it enough times, and the silent damage adds up. So how much water is enough? For most adults, about 6 to 8 glasses a day works. But it's not about chugging large amounts at once. It's about steady intake. A glass in the morning, one mid-morning, one at lunch, mid-afternoon, dinner, and before bed. Spread out like that, hydration becomes a habit instead of a chore. And here's a tip. Hydration doesn't always mean plain water. Herbal teas, broth-based soups, and water-rich fruits like watermelon, oranges, or cucumbers also count. Just be cautious with sugary drinks or too much coffee since they can dehydrate more than they help. One common objection I hear is, "But I don't want to be running to the bathroom all day." That's understandable. Still, the benefits outweigh the inconvenience. Staying hydrated protects not only your brain, but also your kidneys, joints, and digestion. And frequent bathroom trips? Consider them nature's reminder that your body is working as it should. If drinking water feels like a burden, make it easier. Keep a glass in every room you spend time in. Use a marked water bottle to track your intake. Flavor your water with lemon slices, cucumber, or mint if plain water feels dull. The trick is consistency. Think of dehydration like letting your car run on low oil. The engine might still turn on, but every time it does, damage builds up inside. Eventually, something breaks. In your body, that something could be a vessel in the brain. The truth is, water is the simplest, cheapest, and most effective stroke prevention tool you have, and yet it's the one many seniors ignore. Every sip you take is like insurance, thinning your blood, lowering your pressure, and giving your brain the circulation it needs to stay alive and alert. Next, we'll uncover another silent stroke risk that hides in plain sight. When stress becomes your daily companion and you never give your mind a chance to rest. Not all stroke risks come from food or movement. Some come from the mind itself. Stress, especially when it lingers day after day, can quietly become as dangerous as salt or sitting too long. After 60, many seniors assume life should feel calmer. The children are grown, the job is over, the pace is slower. But reality doesn't always match the dream. Worry about money, health, loneliness, or even simply what's next in life can create a background hum of stress that never really shuts off. Why is that dangerous? Because stress isn't just in your head. When you're stressed, the body releases hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These raise blood pressure, make the heart beat faster, and tighten blood vessels. Over time, the constant squeeze wears them down, just like squeezing a garden hose too tightly for too long. That chronic tension doesn't just exhaust the mind, it physically reshapes the arteries, making a stroke more likely. And here's the catch. Many seniors don't even realize how stressed they are. They think, I'm just a little anxious, or it's normal to worry. But stress is like carrying a heavy bag all day. Eventually, your shoulders slump, your back aches, and you forget what it felt like to walk without the weight. You adapt to the burden until one day, the damage surfaces in the form of high blood pressure, poor sleep, or even a stroke. Rest is just as vital as food or water, yet it's often neglected. Too many people push through exhaustion saying, I'll nap later, or I don't sleep well, so why bother trying? But poor sleep means the body never resets. The brain doesn't clear out waste, blood pressure doesn't dip overnight, and the heart doesn't get a break. Without real rest, the stress load doubles, silently fueling the conditions that lead to stroke. So, what can you do? The solution isn't to eliminate all stress. That's impossible. Instead, it's about managing it, giving your mind and body regular chances to recharge. Try deep breathing exercises. Just 5 minutes of slow breathing can calm blood vessels and lower blood pressure. Take short walks outdoors. Fresh air and light movement reduce stress hormones. Practice gratitude or gentle journaling. Shifting focus away from worries helps train the mind to let go. And most importantly, protect your sleep. Create a nightly routine. Dim the lights, turn off screens, sip warm herbal tea, and go to bed at the same time each night. Consistency signals the body to relax. It may sound simple, almost too simple, but these small acts lower stress in measurable ways. Lower stress means lower blood pressure. Lower blood pressure means stronger arteries. And stronger arteries mean a far smaller chance of stroke. Picture two seniors, both 68 years old. One worries constantly, skips sleep, sits in front of late-night news, and spends mornings tired and irritable. The other spends 10 minutes each evening stretching, writes down one thing they're grateful for, and sticks to a sleep schedule. 10 years later, the first develops hypertension and faces a stroke scare. The second maintains steady pressure, sharp memory, and a calmer life. The difference? Not luck, just habits. Here's the big takeaway. Stroke risk isn't built overnight. It's built through silent, everyday habits. The skipped breakfast, the hours in a chair, the extra salt, the lack of water, the constant stress. None of these alone feels catastrophic. But together, they quietly shape the future of your health. The best part? Changing even one habit can make a real difference. Add a simple breakfast. Stand every half hour. Cut back on salt. Sip more water. Breathe deeply before bed. Each step chips away at risk. You don't need perfection. You need consistency. Because strokes don't ask permission. They strike suddenly. But the habits you choose today can decide whether you're caught off guard or well protected. Don't let silent risk steal your future. Take back control, one small change at a time.